This episode of the XtremeAg Show is presented by Concept AgriTek.
Cowboy is the game changer, getting it in through the leaves and into the plant circulatory system. That's why this product is so effective at delivering both calcium and boron to plants at critical times when they need it the most.
In the vast American heartland, farming isn't just a job. It's a shared journey through an unpredictable dance of constant obstacles.
We're farming in a complete different world than we've ever been in the past.
The stereotypical farmer is not a guy that is, holding a pitchfork with a straw in his mouth and a straw cap on.
There's no cookie cutter designs like they have in other corporate world. This is like we're problem solvers every day as farmers.
From the ever-changing weather patterns to the escalating costs of production, the landscape of American agriculture is transforming. The land, once plentiful, is disappearing. And the next generation is choosing career paths divergent from the fields that have sustained us for generations. Our nation's farmers face challenges that shape not just their livelihoods, but the future of farming itself.
This ain't like construction or other businesses. In agriculture, when it's planting season, the whole United States is going to plant the whole crop in a 6 to 8 week time period. If I gotta run to 5 the next morning, we're gonna do it. We ain't got no choice. We'll roll.
Yet they remain the backbone of our nation, resilient in the face of adversity, committed to providing the food, fiber, and wisdom to nurture the fields and the minds of those who follow.
Oh, I love farming. Farming's not a job to me, but when you wake up in the mornings and you go to work with your best friends and the people you love, it's hard to really call that a job.
Meet XtremeAg, a group of farmers rewriting the story of American agriculture.
I've never met a bunch of men that were more out-of-the-box thinkers in my life.
Really, the goal of XtremeAg isn't necessarily high yields. It's a better ROI. And when you can balance the soil and raise more with less, that's a better ROI and that's sustainable.
Raising the bar, overcoming obstacles, breaking records, and passionately sharing their knowledge to create a brighter future for farming.
So the reason I'm so driven is because I really only have about 40 crops that I'm intimately involved with. So we're on a clock. That clock is ticking fast. Days go slow and years go fast, and I swear that clock is speeding up.
5 farmers driven by a passion to explore, educate, and equip the next generation of farmers.
We're here for support and to help you think outside the box to better your farming.
That's one thing with XtremeAg is we all try to go to each other's farms and learn during the growing season because, it's easy to go during the off season, but, the growing season is when you see them in action and we actually get to learn from them.
Together, they are shaping a more sustainable future, cultivating not just crops, but a legacy for generations. A journey of triumph, a testament to perseverance, and a reflection of the enduring spirit of American agriculture. This is their story.
Amino Grow is an exciting new product put out by Concept AgriTek. What we've seen is an increase in fruiting sites as well as branching, and this has equated to yield.
Spot less. Introducing the cleanup for tar spot, gray leaf spot, southern rust, and more. Novel next generation Adastrio fungicide from FMC broadens your spectrum and strengthens your residual foliar disease control. Protect your cornfields with a proprietary combination of 3 modes of action. Visit your FMC retailer or at astrio.ag.fmc.com to clean up this season.
Introducing Demco's newest dual auger grain cart design. Now equipped with the front folding auger and available in right side or left side unload options. featuring Demco's corner auger design for optimal visibility. With a 22-inch vertical auger, unload at speeds of 600 bushels per minute. Demco, outpace harvest time every time.
Some farmers I know swear by a name, say they'd never operate anything else. Well, here are a few names for my Fendt 900 tractor. Fuel Saver, Time Maximizer, Game Changer. I like those names.
BioHealth is a product by Concept AgriTek made up of a consortium of beneficial biology that actually colonize the plant and boost the plant's immune system from the inside.
From the sandy soils of McGee, Arkansas, meet Matt Miles, a farmer challenged with growing crops in the Mississippi Delta, a region where growing corn and soybeans requires great skill and patience.
We've got a little less than 12,000 acres, but it's scattered into 1, 2, 3, 4 counties. Just to kind of give you an idea, that's my soil. So you see just a little bit of it fell on the ground, a lot of it went out there in the dust. So this is what we're growing our crops in. Very little nutrient holding capacity, about a 6-inch topsoil at the max. You know, we have a lot of different challenges between the heat, but our soils is one of our biggest challenges.
The sweltering heat and high humidity of the summer months are both friend and foe, demanding that Matt plant his crops early, ensuring they pollinate before the scorching temperatures set in.
Probably our biggest limiting factor in corn production is the nighttime heat, nighttime temperatures during pollination. And that can take 20 bushels off our crop in just a matter of a few days during pollinations. The big thing we have to deal with sometimes is gators. You know, they'll be in our rice fields, they'll be in our corn fields, they'll be in our cotton fields. You know, you never know when you're gonna walk up on one.
Matt is no stranger to success. His many awards are a reflection of the hard work and commitment to excellence that speaks louder than words.
I grow 2 crops that no one else in XtremeAg grows. One of them is rice and one of them is cotton. And I have a love-hate relationship with both of them. My love-hate relationship with rice is mud. Everything you do, you seems to almost do in the mud. Cotton's the same way. You know, cotton's difficult to grow, harvest later towards more where the hurricanes are. But I'm pretty sentimental with cotton because that's what I learned to do. That's what my dad taught me to do. I grow, a lot of the reason I grow cotton is because it's still here. It's hard to kind of get away from that. One of the main, I guess, things that's happened in my life during my farm career was when my dad passed. You know, I was 31 years old when he passed, and I really hadn't learned everything I needed to know. Once he passed, every decision was on me. And at that point, I leaned on people that were good farmers. One good thing about this community, when you're down, they're gonna help you.
Me and my dad now probably have one of the best relationships a father and son can have. I mean, he's absolutely my best friend.
But it's pretty humbling when you have a hero that is someone younger than you, and Lane is truly one of my heroes in my life. I can't really tell you that I would be farming today if he hadn't been there in my life, you know, so it's such a blessing to be able to call your children your hero.
As stressful as a job as farming is, and be able to still be friends and work with my dad, it's unreal.
Working with Lane today is a lot different than it was 10 years ago, a lot different than it was 5 years ago. He's 28 years old, and he's really become a superstar. I think he's a better farmer at 28 than I was at 40, to be honest with you. It's inspiring to be able to watch the things that he can do at his age.
In the suburban city of Madison, Alabama, meet XtremeAg farmer Chad Henderson. Together with his father Mike, his cousin Stuart, and son Jackson, Chad navigates the challenges of farming in the unforgiving climate and soils of northern Alabama.
So when we talk about different crops, we run about 2,400 acres a week, and then we're going to double crop those. We'll have about 1,000 or 1,500 acres of beans that's not double crop, and then the rest will be corn. Probably somewhere around 26 to 3,000 acres. And every year we work a lot of river bottom ground, so you don't ever know like if you're going to plant that this year or not plant it or what it's going to be in.
The thing I'm worried about the most is if I'm going to be able to do this when I'm my dad's age, because so many plants and businesses is coming in here. It's a thriving city. Huntsville's the biggest city in the state now. It's I guess a fight of survival.
So this farm here, on one side is a 150-acre cornfield. On the other side of the road is an Amazon building. Took up 150 acres here.
Besides the constant race against the clock in farming, Chad does a different type of racing. For nearly 3 decades, he's been racing cars on the drag strip. The parallels between farming and racing are uncanny. The precision, the timing, and the unyielding commitment.
I'm a competitive spirit, and I do love racing. I do love it. The racing's how I met Marie. She liked cool cars, and we happen to have a cool car about all our life. There's no reason that we should still be racing. Like, we don't have an ego, we don't have anything to prove, We're doing this for the people that surround us, the family that's involved. The race car has cost us, a lot of money over the years, but no education is free. It's taught me about quality, it's taught me about nice things, it's taught me about patience. It's taught me about trials and frustrations. And you start putting that into your everyday life, whether it's at your home and your family, whether it's at your farm, whether it's at what you're growing for a crop. I mean, when you start putting that into perspective and the way you run your businesses and the way you run your life, this race car's taught me how to live. Is it great to do this and enjoy sport with your family? That's where it's at. I think my dad watching even Stuart and I, run the farm, and him just there for more support, like he told me, he said, I'm not farming to be farming, I'm farming to be here with y'all. He farms to be around family.
Chad and Jackson, as they've grown up, I look at the passion they are developing too, and it makes me proud. They out here for a reason, It's a great way of life.
It worries me to death I'm not going to get to watch my son run this farm. I'm not scared to die, but, I just don't want to miss out. I feel like I've done my part for this farm, right? Well, I want to see my son blow through it and be like, man, Dad was so far back there, we just blowed right by where he's at, checked on out. And so I can't wait to see where the next generation is going to push this farm.
Adding Raytheon into your in-fur application or even an over-the-top application, ground V3, V4, can do wonders in helping that plant navigate tough soil conditions as far as nutrient tie-up is concerned.
Control the toughest weeds with overlapping residuals. Lock in the longest-lasting control for your soybean fields. Authority brand herbicides, such as Authority Edge herbicide and Authority Supreme herbicide, combine the industry's most effective Group 14 and 15 active ingredients for a clean start and long-lasting residual control. Following up 14 to 28 days later with a post-application of Anthem Max herbicide through V6 establishes a heavy-duty, economical, overlapping residual program.
Claims are good and all, but I'm more interested in results. My Fendt Momentum planter delivers them. The only planter with automatic tire pressure adjustments, weight transfer across its frame, and inline center tandem wheels that eliminate pinch rows. It's just another way I know Fendt's got my bottom line top of mind.
Sweet Success has been in the product lineup of Concept AgriTek for a while. We've seen it do a lot of things that you wouldn't think a blackstrap molasses product would do. Anytime you can increase the bricks content of your plant, the more healthy it's going to be.
Nestled in the heart of Iowa's Corn Belt, meet Kelly Garrett. a pioneer in the world of regenerative farming. Where the soil is rich and the corn grows tall, the picturesque landscape presents a distinct set of challenges.
We farm about 7,000 acres, mostly corn, quite a few soybeans, and just a little bit of winter wheat. And we'll range from 400 to 500 head of cows depending on the market. And so we have a cow-calf herd. So besides the farming operation and the cow-calf operation, we now have a meat store in town. We're taking some of our beef direct to the consumer. We're proud of the product that we raise.
Kelly is driven. There isn't a day where he says, I don't want to farm today. That never, ever happens.
While every farmer battles the elements, it's Western Iowa's rolling terrain that presents Kelly the greatest hurdle.
Yeah, you get in these hills and it's kind of a whole different ball game. Anybody can farm a flat postage stamp piece of ground, but this here requires a little bit of thinking and planning. And I mean, it's tough to communicate, even to people who have been around farming their whole lives, how different it is. I'm gonna have to combine the corn one way because I can't pull the hill the other way. Or I've got to back out duck with only half a hopper on because that weight is too much to get over that hill. I mean, there's just so many different kinds of things you got to think about that are really going to limit your productivity. Good combine salesmen want to tell you the different, how many acres per hour, how many bushels per hour you could do, but that's not really even worth measuring out here because it isn't very high. Your productivity is going to go way down, and you're going to have to do a lot of different things that are going to slow it down, but you just got to do it to get the corn out. It's harder on the machine. It's harder on the guy. There's a lot going on out here that makes it different than just a flat spot out in North Dakota or something.
Kelly was the first farmer in the United States to sell his carbon credits and have it be legit. He was the first guy. From Marion, Iowa. I mean, who would ever think of such a thing?
When I talk about the goals of soil health and conserving the soil and conservation farming that my grandfathers had, that was the way I was raised. It's ingrained in me. But now with the technology and the education we have, the products that we have, high yield and great regenerative practices are very much becoming one for us, not just for the good of agriculture and farm income, it's for the good of the environment and the world, and it's what the consumer is asking for. And I take great pride in being one of the leaders, I guess, in that space. So the reason I'm so driven is because I really only have about 40 crops that I'm intimately involved with. In the last 8 years, I learned way more than I did in the previous 18 years of farming before that. I want to accomplish as much as I can to leave the world a better place. I hope that my sons far surpass what I've accomplished. I hope I have a lot left to accomplish, and I hope they blow me out of the water. That would be the legacy that I want to live.
In the rolling foothills of North Carolina, Kevin Matthews and his daughter Danielle represent 5 generations of farmers. Battling against extreme weather, crop disease, and urban encroachment, Kevin has adapted to the unique challenges of farming in the Yadkin River Valley.
Our location here in the Yadkin River Valley, we're at the foothills of the Appalachian Mountains on the western side of the state of North Carolina. We're kind of in a microclimate area because of the river valley. A lot of vineyards around now. Tobacco was king here in this area. If you ever watched the Andy Griffith Show, we're just right down the road from Mayberry, and I can look right out of my house and see Mount Pilot.
We'll have 2,000 plus acres of soybeans planted this year, with 550 of them being double crop acres behind soft red winter wheat and then sometimes barley as well. We've got 3,300 acres of corn. Most everything we have is no-till farming. We try to keep cover crops on it to keep a good clean waterway. Pretty much, our soil is our big investment. We're probably some of the biggest environmentalists in the world as an American farmer. We take that pretty daggone serious.
We spend about 33% of our time traveling up and down the road, so we're very inefficient compared to other areas of the United States. The challenge we have is our fields are smaller, and tobacco is kind of the reason for that, because typically if a family had 20, 25 acres of land, they could grow 10 acres of tobacco and have a good living for their family, and they've done very well. You know, tobacco's went away and row crops has become more predominant. It takes acres, lots of acres, to make a family sustainable. It's one of the biggest challenges we face here is the amount of people, the urban sprawl. I can't tell you how many times that we've had close encounters, people nearly hit us. So our children that Cindy and I have, Danielle is the oldest. It's an honor for a father to get to work alongside his daughter, and she knows every aspect of the business. Anything we buy, any financial situation we're in, we make sure she's involved in it. It makes you so proud that when you see her out there in that tractor planting corn with a 24-row planter, getting on a combine, picking corn, moving grain carts up and down the road.
I think it's pretty neat, get to be the next generation coming in. It's kind of a pride thing too. Like, I mean, my dad's the 4th generation and I'm the 5th generation of the farm, and if my brother decides to come back to the farm, he'll be there with me and have my husband there too. So that's pretty awesome. A lot of people that farm with their parents are stuck with doing the way their parents do it, and their parents don't let them try new things, but that is one thing like my dad has done, is he lets me try different things. Sometimes it's the wrong choice, but he wants me to see why it's the wrong choice and go ahead and do it while he's here to help me learn the right way to do it.
My one advice I've got for other farmers out there is, if you've got daughters, keep them on your heels. They can be just as important and vital to your farming operation as the boys can. And it's pretty daggone fun.
Go long for season-long foliar disease protection that starts at plant. Active ingredient flutriafol moves through your corn plants as they grow for inside-out protection from roots to tassel. A single at-plant application provides comparable performance in corn yield protection to that of VTR1 foliar fungicides against diseases like gray leaf spot, northern corn leaf blight, common rust, and more.
Some farmers I know swear by a name, say they'd never operate anything else. Well, here are a few names for my Fendt 900 tractor. Fuel Saver, Time Maximizer, Game Changer. I like those names.
All you need to do is tell Concept what your total work is, how much you want to put out per acre, and if everything is compatible and stable, we can blend it at the plant and ship it to you ready to go, where all you have to do is just add water.
So we talk about boron. So I got labeled as the boron person of the group, or boron guru would be a good word. So boron guru of the group. And it's just because I like to put it out in a lot of different ways.
People have seen a lot of responses from boron, and a lot of the reason is we put it on a pre-reproductive time for the plants. It's important for pollen tubing, seed sizing, and movement of sugars in the plant. So it's got a very important role in reproduction. And reproductions are a time when all our growers are making their money.
You got to think about boron, or like sulfur or anything else, like it's in a screen door. And the way we figured out to do this, we just have to keep treating it in slow amounts, because it's almost like it's just running through a screen door. We never want to put it in a trench with a seed, but when I'm going into 2x2 or into strip freshener, then we're going to put a sniff of boron down from anywhere from a pint to a quart. And when you say this, we're going to talk about a 1/4 pound, 1/2 pound, a whole pound, of actual boron that we'll be putting down. We'll take it in a planter and in a strip till in the spring of the year. We're going to be looking at a dry product. It just works good for me.
Boron's really important in there because really moving that photosynthetic energy, the sugars and stuff that are produced in the leaves into the reproduction. the seeds and helping get that movement, keep it going back and forth.
And then when we're going over the top a lot of times, I really like to go with something that's liquid. It's sticky, it has a sticky agent. In my mind, the simplicity part of it, that we're just sticking fungicides, micro packs, we're sticking things to it and kind of getting a better stick on the leaf. And also it has the boron in it as well. You need to treat boron with respect. It takes a lot to get to boron toxicity. I'm gonna laugh about that, and y'all that know me know I've tried it. So it takes a lot to get there. But what I'm saying is I don't think there's any one way that you can address boron. And if you can, you need to address it in spoonfuls, if you will. So we're gonna address it a little bit at a time in each stage, and every time we go across the field, we will have some amount of boron in the tank, whether it's on wheat, beans, or corn. And when you start looking at tissue samples and the way that the boron moves through the plant and how long it stays in the plant, then you wonder, when does it need to be in the plant? And with that being said, sometimes you don't need to just leave the levels up all the time in the plant, because the boron is there to it's actually there to help with pollination. It helps there, so I want to really run them up. If I'm gonna run them up, I'm gonna run them up in that V10 or 12 and start ramping them higher, headed into pollination, is when I really want to see my best numbers. And that's a hard time to run it up. But we figured out that if you just let it be low and then you try to run it up, it's really hard to run it up if you're in a deficit with it. So if you're in a marginal area and you just hold it marginal, hold it marginal, hold it marginal, and then run it up, it's a lot easier to do. So that's why I say that a lot of times what I want to do is take it and give it spoonfuls, 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 keep it trickling in where I'm keeping it in the normal range, if you will, in the plant. And when I keep it in normal range, it's easier to spike it at certain times when the plant may need it.
It changes everything, so says Indiana corn grower Nathan Davis about innovative Xyway LFR fungicide from FMC. Xyway brand fungicides are the first and only at-plant corn fungicides to provide unprecedented season-long inside-out foliar disease protection.
Success isn't just about maintaining your operation, how you make out for the season, or how much you can get from each acre. It's about doing precisely what needs to be done to feed your crop and grow your legacy, all the way down to the last drop. AgroLiquid Precision Crop Nutrition. Apply less, expect more. Find a retailer at agroliquid.com.
Cowboy is the game changer, getting it in through the leaf and into the plant circulatory system. That's why this product is so effective at delivering both calcium and boron to plants at critical times when they need it the most.
A stone's throw from the nation's capital, on the eastern shore 1,000 miles from the heartland, lies acres of fields that thousands of beachgoers pass every day. Here, one XtremeAg farmer has achieved success through trial and error, and with it, a unique title.
I'm Temple Rose, I'm the Senate guy. When you talk about being a Senate guy, the Senate guy is the guy that just doesn't really give a, doesn't matter what happens, take it to the extreme, let's go, don't look back, we'll see what happens at the end.
He's definitely kind of a mad scientist. And out here, you can't be scared to try anything. I mean, you can't. You just gotta try it, and if it don't work, then you know not to do it again.
So there's a lot to be learned by taking things too far. You don't worry about if you put too much in. If you put too much in, it's probably just right. So we're in the Chesapeake Bay watershed. We have a nutrient management plan. We farm by regulation. We have to be extremely efficient with everything, all of our usage. Where I am, I'm 45 minutes from DC, I'm 45, 50 minutes away from Baltimore, 55, 60 minutes away from Philadelphia. We're living close to the cities. We're trying to save the bay. The farmers in this community have figured out how to spoon feed a crop.
It is very, very hard to farm up here just because of the way our soils are. We got low CEC soils for one. We spread some fertilizer one year and it might be gone the next, you know what I mean? Just because it goes through that soil so fast. There's always buffer strips, have grass. Every single acre that we till goes in cover crops over winter.
We're trying to do the right thing. You know, farmers are stewards of the land. We're not trying to do the wrong thing. We're constantly trying to do the right thing. Me, myself, I'm 8th or 9th generation that's been in agriculture. A lot of our family is watermen, and some of our family is from agriculture, and we've combined both of them. So there's a love of the Chesapeake Bay, and then we farm on the other side. So I go to work every day, and I look forward to getting up every morning. And it's not just because I love farming, it's because of the way that our farm works. The way that my farm works is that it's a family operation. So I get to go work with my kids every day. You know, one of the moments that I look forward to is when dinner is brought to us in the field by my wife, and she stops at the end of the field and we all stop for a moment in time. Now, we might be talking about what happened at school. We might be talking about the problems that we're having and farming that day, but each and every one of them, they love that. And I think that they value that as much as I do. This is not, you know, a job for me. This is my life. So what I hope for America is I want to change the way that people think about agriculture. There is another level that people aren't seeing in agriculture. And for us to do all that and still bring to the table a really, really safe source of food that has been grown in a sustainable environment, that we have done the absolute best that we can do to be stewards of our land for the next generation, and still be able to tell that story is amazing to me. That's my hope for XtremeAg.
On the next XtremeAg show.
We're at about 10% right now, not quite 10% on planting. The inverter system is not working. Every hour that we lose when we delay the planting, it's costing us huge money. 1 hour is 50 acres. That's bad.